The experts are the people that are holding their value. They are expensive. It's because they're the best, and no one expects the best to be the cheapest.
Jessica Yarborough is the queen of high-end consulting, helping seasoned B2B coaches and consultants land multi-six-figure corporate engagements with the C-suite while scaling with integrity, time, freedom, and global perspective.
So hold your positioning, work on building your credibility and honing your craft, and those are the people that are going to succeed no matter what is happening in the world.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian Venner. I'm back with another edition of the Scaling Up Success podcast, powered by Synergist. Synergist is your scalable operations company that can help you grow exponentially faster at a fraction of the cost. Go check out synergist.com. Today, I'm super excited to have Jessica Yarborough on today. Jessica, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and thank you so much for being a part of it today. Man, you have all kinds of things happening, and I can't wait to jump into it. So just give a little background to the audience of everything that you got going on right now.
Yeah, so I am a business strategist and growth consultant. I primarily work with B2B coaches and consultants that are established and who are ready to scale. And we do that primarily through ultra high-end kind of corporate engagements.
Okay. So being able to make those connections and being able to coach people through that process, because it's a daunting task to be able to step into that next level of, like the C-suite execs and stuff like that. They'll chew you up for breakfast if you allow them to, right?
Absolutely. And it's like, how do I take my expertise that I've spent, decade plus honing, maybe in the corporate world, maybe in the entrepreneurial world, and how do I attach a multi-six-figure price tag on it and get companies to say yes?
That's phenomenal. And you're doing it at a high success rate. And I couldn't be more excited about, where you're going with everything like that. But tell us what got you started into doing this side of things with what you got going on.
Yeah, so my background's in business. I consulted at a really young age, built a startup company, kind of went back into consulting about 11, 12 years ago. And, I've always had a passion for entrepreneurs. I love the grit and determination and, kind of can-do attitude. So I started working with individual business owners, primarily like in the coaching and consulting world, and really narrowed into the B2B world, just because they have more of the business sense, and been going strong ever since.
Awesome. So as you've been building this out over the last several years, what challenges have you seen? Especially we've had a pandemic in the middle of this whole growth process. I'm sure you've seen ups and downs in this business that you've been growing out yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the pandemic was actually one of my boom time for me, and it was for many coaches and consultants. It really depends on how you had your business set up. If you were set up virtually, I think it was a real opportunity time. If you had a event-based business, it would have been a really down year and you'd have to scramble. But the way I'd set things up had done really well for me. But definitely the pandemic changed the game. But I actually had a lot of clients who did really well in it, because I think a lot of companies saw the need for coaching more than ever, because people were feeling isolated and it was harder to get teams on board when they were working remotely and all of those things. But there's always going to be ups and downs. We've had presidents step down, we have presidential changes, tariffs, stock market dips over the years, recession, talk, all of that. And I always tell people that if you can solve an urgent pain, then you can have an opportunity, you can win business. I feel like what has happened is the challenges all the uncertainty that we faced in the marketplace is forcing people out that are more of like Band-Aid solutions or nice to have, the fluffy ones, and the people that are really here to stay are the ones who can solve that big pain. They know how to position themselves, because companies are still investing, in outside coaches and consultants to solve big problems. So people get so caught up that, even AI, there's always going to be new things that are happening, but that doesn't mean that it's going to eliminate you from opportunity if you can solve those problems.
So you're saying the Chat GPT is not the Terminator 2 Skynet's not going to replace the in-person type of field, even on online type of coaching?
No, listen, people are going to lean into AI just like everybody's embraced it. Like, we use it in my business, but I'll tell you, using AI for research and certain tools is great, but it's not going to replace the person who can sit there face to face with you, whether that's virtually or in person, and talk about the problems and bring their unique experience to the table. I always tell my clients, especially when we're building their programs, like proceed with caution with AI, like use that later once we've dialed everything in. But right now for strategy, I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's a lot over. It's all over the map still with
Yes.
a lot of stuff, and like the other thing too is it's so open source. Like anybody,
exactly.
if you're putting stuff in there, anybody can find out what you're doing anyway. So like
Yeah.
there's so many different options out there like that. You don't have privacy with it.
No, you don't have privacy, and there's just like companies, they're not going to want to talk to a computer. Like I said, there's certain ways to leverage it, and certainly you should be using and leveraging AI in your business. But when it comes to you coming into a company and literally sitting around a round table of executives and discussing their problems, a computer cannot solve that better than someone who has decades of experience in the field and can get in there and pinpoint that exact problem within a few minutes.
That's phenomenal. So like, as you built this business out over the last, like you said, almost 10 years, over 10
Yes.
years now, like what are you most proud of this journey that you've been on?
Oh man, I would say number one would be like client success. Like I love seeing people step into their potential. Most of my clients have been doing this for a really long time and typically are undercharging, they're stuck, they're stagnant, and a lot of that has to do with part of their inner game and then part of the strategy. So seeing them step into that next level version of themselves and be able to own their expertise and command top fees for it is huge. And the other thing would be the team. I have an amazing team. I have team members that have been with me for, some of them as much as like 7 years. And, there are some people who are just like, hey, you can do it alone. And that's not me. I know I can't do it alone. I know my team brings so much more value to the table in terms of a well-rounded experience for my clients. And they also give me the gift of my time back. I did not build a business to drive myself into the ground. I built it for time freedom as well. And I built an amazing team and just took them to a week-long trip to Alaska in July. And I love like rewarding them. And if you want amazing people and you want them to stay, take care of them.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. And I believe in the philosophy of like, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with your circle or go with your team.
Totally. Yeah.
So like what strategies or habits do you feel have been like critical to your success?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. I would say number one is self-care. And I think like entrepreneurship is going to show you that real fast.
Yes.
So take care of yourself. And we know this. It's funny because I think like we know what we're supposed to do, but are you actually doing it? So are you exercising? Are you eating the right foods? Are you stepping away from your computer and having like actual time, present time with your family? All of those things are really important. And I feel like that the bigger that you grow, the more amplified your focus needs to be on self-care. So I would say that self-care piece has been huge for me. And then another thing is just making sure that you're still in integrity. It's so easy to kind of get caught up in everything that's happening around you, and I've seen a lot of people kind of sacrifice their values to make a buck. And sometimes I feel like as coaches and consultants or entrepreneurs, right, you can sit there and be like, oh, well, they're doing this. Maybe I should do that. But you got to ask yourself, like, are you going to be able to sleep at night? Do you want to stay true to yourself and run your business with integrity? And like for me, that means actually turning down a lot of business, which is counterintuitive if you look at, some of the most successful coaches, in the industry. They would never turn down business. Right? But for me, it's not about being like the biggest. It's about being really intentional about the kinds of people I want to work with, even if that means I'm not the richest coach.
So what's your thoughts on the scarcity versus abundance mindset that goes along with what you're saying?
Well, I feel like there's always enough to go around. Like we live in I'm a positive, glass half full, we live in an abundant universe. So, but I also have been around enough to know what I don't want to be. And that is a guru figurehead of a company who has no connection to their clients and is promising to help them, right? Like you're on a call with 100 other people or running a boiler room sales where, hardcore closers are bringing people in and then you've got problems with client attrition because they were, sold something different. Like I have no desire to partake in that part of the industry. for me. And then as far as turning clients down, I know that the right people are going to come to me and work with me. And if you've ever had a bad client experience, Ryan, I'm sure you have, it's not worth it. It's
Nope.
not worth your time, your energy. So to your listeners, I would say don't be afraid to turn business down, and do that on a combination of factors. Like, is it not a client fit? Their problem and your solution? Is there a misalignment of values? Or do you just not like their personality? If any of those three things are checked off, turn them away, because it's really not worth it. And what you do is, when you turn down people that aren't a fit, you allow the space for people that are a right fit to come in.
I love that. And I couldn't have said it better myself. One of the things that I think kind of goes along with that too is like when you have the right alignment with you as what you're building for your culture to your clients, there's also the team culture will personify what you're enabling or empowering throughout your whole company. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah, I mean, because you can feel it if you've ever been into a company or a program where there was that misalignment. You can definitely feel it. So your team is going to set the tone and play a big part in the overall customer experience.
Now, one of the things that we talked about briefly earlier was like you talked about like the many different facets that have came over, or struggles that have, or opportunities, it doesn't matter, either way, is came across in the last like 5 or 6 years. So like, what unique challenges do you see like coming up in the next couple of years that you're seeing around the corner?
I think more than ever, you're going to have to establish really strong positioning as an expert, right? Because the coaching industry is always booming. I feel like there's always more people coming on that decide, hey, I guess I got laid off, I'm going to be a coach, or I'm going to take the certification program and be a coach. So you really need to lean on your experience, showcase your client results, and like I said earlier, solve an urgent problem in the marketplace, so that you are positioned above that kind of sea of generalist and seen as really an expert specialist. Those are the people that command the top fees. Everybody else is kind of like a red ocean, and they're bottom feeder, price bargaining, race to the bottom. But the experts are the people that are holding their value. They are expensive, and it's because they're the best, and no one expects the best to be the cheapest. So hold your positioning, work on building your credibility and honing your craft. And those are the people that are going to succeed no matter what is happening in the world. And everybody else will just have the leftovers, if you will.
I love it. What's your thoughts on like, I kind of see like a triangle forming with like coaching spaces and marketing spaces, where like you have like the figurehead of the business. So like they're creating content, and then you have that they create like a book, like they're an authorship, and then a speaker side as well. Do you see that happening in the coaching space as well for business building?
Yeah, a lot of people do write a book and go speaking if that's something they want to do. And it can be a good business card, a book, if the book is written for your next level audience. I'll say a lot of people come to me and they've already written a book, and the book is no longer useful. And they spent $50,000 on a best-selling book writing program. If people come to me and they're in the midst of a book, I tell them to pause. Trust me, you'll be glad when you're done, because we're going to work on your strategy and your messaging and make sure that whatever you write is positioned for that next level client. So I think books can be helpful if they're written with the right audience and where your business is actually going in mind. And then, but also to keep in mind, there's things beyond speaking, because a lot of companies that are hiring speakers are checking a box. They're not necessarily bringing in the speaker and then buying high-end engagements at the end of that. There is a small percentage, but I find that there's companies that are either looking for real work, they want someone to come in and do that consulting, or they're looking to check a box and say, we did our learning and development by doing a workshop or having a keynote speaker. So just keep in mind that I would just proceed with caution to build your entire business around the speaking model, because it may not lead to the high-end engagements that you're hoping for as frequently as you need.
I love that. Now, one of the other pieces that I've seen a lot, and a lot of people talking about, is the amount of content that people need to produce, like whether it's the business owner or the coaches themselves, to be able to stay like relevant in a certain space. Do you find that is happening across the board, or what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, my thought has always been it's the same. People argue with me. I don't care. It's been 10 years, quality over quantity. Unless you're trying to be Gary Vee or Alex Hormozy, or you're trying to be that influencer model and then eventually one day sell the thing like Alex did, right?
Yeah.
Then those are the people that have massive teams, massive budgets, six-figure budgets that they're using to produce content. But I have found, converting content is more quality over quantity. And I think people are craving more depth, and the little 30-second little motivational clips don't really move the needle in terms of generating that into business. So I feel like quality over quantity is going to be key. Do you need to put out content? I mean, I believe you always should build your body of work so that you have a paper trail. People can Google you and they can find you. But I mean, I've also had clients be very successful that aren't content machines. So, but do I believe you should put it out? Absolutely. Just focus on quality.
Phenomenal. Love that answer. Thank you so much for giving such great insight into that. One of the things that we do on our podcast here is we talk a little bit more on the personal side in a little rapid fire kind of questioning. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. So do you have like a bucket list travel spot that you want to vacation or go to?
Well, I guess I'm a crazy traveler. I've been to like 30 countries, so I have not been to where my people are from, which is England, Ireland, and Scotland, and we're doing that next summer. So, but as far as travel, if I see something, I go for it. And I've
Awesome.
lived in four countries as well. So,
very cool. What countries?
I lived in Spain. I went to university there, Costa Rica, Thailand, and Indonesia.
Very cool. Awesome. Do you have a favorite book that you're reading right now?
Gosh, I'm actually reading Thich Nhat Hanh, The Art of something. I can't remember. It's around Buddhism.
Nice. Very cool. What type of beverage do you drink? Like coffee, tea, soda, energy drink? What are you drinking?
Oh, I like coffee and I like Earl Grey tea.
Awesome. Are you drinking coffee in large amounts?
No, I drink like a cup a day.
Fair. Okay.
That's all my body can handle.
Just wired for the rest of the day. If you could have like one superpower, like an Avengers level superpower, what would it be?
It's a fly. I don't know what it is. I've always wanted to fly.
Awesome.
It's like expansive.
Okay.
I think birds are like magical creatures. It's like you can just go up in the sky. I think that would be cool. When I was a kid, that's what I wanted to do, fly.
That's super cool. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm an early bird. Yeah, I'm asleep by 10:30.
Nice. Okay. If you could have dinner with one historical figure, living or in the past, who would it be?
Honestly, probably Jesus.
Awesome.
I'd like to.
Very cool. So like, you have like vast educational background, but what's one thing that you had to learn on your own that like you just had to learn by the trial of hard knocks?
Goodness, that's a hard. I think it is around trust. I grew up in the South where like your word was like a handshake was your word. And I had to learn quickly in business that not everybody operates that way with that same mentality and value system. So that was a hard lesson for me. Was like, get a signed agreement.
I love it.
Forget the handshake.
So forget the handshake and just say bless your heart a lot.
Yes. There you go. Bless your heart, kindness. Thank you.
Exactly. What's on your workout playlist right now?
Gosh, usually it's like Diplo or like some electronic if I'm lifting weights.
Nice. Okay. Do you go hard on the weights or you go more cardio?
I do weights and yoga.
Okay. Very
Not
cool.
a lot of cardio.
Yeah, I'm a lifter. That's the way that I roll. So, and do you have like a favorite cheat meal?
My favorite cheat meal might probably be some kind of like high carb pasta dish, Italian dish for sure.
Like some chicken parm or some.
Yeah, just something super terrible for you.
I love it. Well, you passed the rapid fire with flying colors. Thank you so much for indulging us on that piece.
Thank you for having me, Ryan.
Awesome. Well, I got a couple questions to wrap up on this. Now, if you could like be a time traveler and go back like to when like you lived overseas when you were younger, okay? Mm-hmm. Like, and you were starting this whole journey, what one piece of advice would you give your younger self? Like,
trust the process. Like, everything works out perfectly, and trust in the divine unfolding of your life. You may not get it right now, but it will make sense later on. So just trust.
I dig that. That's awesome. And that can be, like everybody in the audience can take and learn from that one. Now, conversely, Where do you see yourself in like the next 5 years?
I see myself here in San Diego still, probably doing the same thing that I'm doing now. I don't have any intention to change the business. It works really well, and I'm excited for, the business model and the success of my clients.
Awesome. Last little piece.
Okay.
If people are interested in getting to know you and your business more, what avenues can they take to reach out to you to get a hold of you?
Definitely go to jessicayarborough.com. You can even go /influence and download my guide on the ladder of influence. Follow me on LinkedIn. Check out my podcast. Follow me on YouTube. Send me a message. Let me know you heard me on the show, and go from there.
Awesome. Jessica, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Scaling Up Success podcast today. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck with everything that you have going on.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Once again, Ryan Van Ornum, the host of Scaling Up Success. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until the next time, stay blessed, everyone. Take care.